Smoker versus Thumper. Would you rather dive into your engine and soak up the oil-enriched fuel, or would you rather just set it and forget it? There's been a constant debate on which style dirt bike is best, the two-stroke or the four-stroke. The truth is, both of them have their own benefits. First, we'll talk about oil mixture, then we'll go into the differences between carb and fuel injection. Third, we'll talk about the differences between linear and nonlinear power distribution. And last, we'll go over the different noises and how the dirt bikes got their nicknames. Oil mixture is a major issue with the two-stroke bike that a lot of people don't like. They don't like to have to carry around extra oil to mix into the fuel compared to the four-stroke that you could just roll up to a pump and just pour fuel inside of it. There's a specific amount of oil that needs to be added to the fuel in order to lubricate this high compression engine on two-stroke dirt bikes, considering there is no oil reservoir to bring the oil in. That's one benefit of the four-stroke, is you just drive right up to the fuel pump, no need to measure out any oil, and you can just fill it right up. Because they have a separate oil reservoir that injects into the cylinder heads. Now we've covered the fuel mixture, let's talk about how the fuel gets into the engine. Another major difference is how the fuel is distributed into the engine. Two strokes use a carburetor. Four strokes use fuel injection or TBI, throttle body injection. A carburetor requires extensive jetting for any changes in elevation, temperature, or how rich or lean you want your bike to run. It is far easier to work on and has less moving parts and electronics, which means that it's also cheaper and will last longer. Four strokes use a throttle body or fuel injection. This has self-adjusting sensors that will adjust while riding on the go for any differences in elevation or temperature. It's also more complex, and it's used to push fuel through the cylinders, which means that it's more costly and doesn't last as long considering all the different moving parts. Next most important difference that manufacturers are trying to even out is how the power is delivered. For dirt bikes, power is either linear or non-linear. Two strokes have been known to have a non-linear distribution of power. This means, for the sake of argument, that the power band is shorter, which means it has more top-end power and less mid and low range power. The four strokes use a linear power band, which has a more broad range compared to the two stroke. This means that low speed and mid range accounts for a lot of the power instead of having the top end like the two stroke. Finally, I'll discuss the difference between the noises and how the bikes got their nicknames, Smoker and Thumper. A big difference between two-stroke and four-stroke dirt bikes is that everyone can distinguish is the exhaust tone. Two strokes have a signature brap or peppy and tinging sound. This high-pitched ting comes from, or sets the bike apart from the four-stroke because the gas flows through an expansion chamber, bounces around, and then heads out the exhaust. That's what gives it the ting. After the gas flows out the exhaust, you'll notice it's a lot more smoky due to the oil and fuel mixture. That's hence the name Smoker. The four-stroke has a deep, low growl that travels a lot further than the two-stroke. It's more dense, and so it pushes through the air and travels further distances. It has no expansion pipe like the two-stroke and makes power travel a lot further. The deep sound cuts through the air and creates a thump sound in the distance, hence the name Thumper. Now we've covered a lot, including the differences and benefits of each dirt bike. During this speech, I've informed you of the key differences between 2-stroke and 4-stroke dirt bikes for you to determine which is best. I've gone over fuel mixture. I've gone over the differences between carved bikes and fuel injection, the differences between linear and non-linear power distribution, and finally, the different sounds and how they got their nicknames. Now, everyone has their own biased opinion on which dirt bike is best. Take these differences and benefits that I've told you and find out what works best for your lifestyle.